Hello and welcome to Royal Telly. I'm your host, Chloe. Here we celebrate and support the incredible work of the Sussexes while unpacking the media's often misguided reactions. You can expect insightful commentary, a dash of wit, and a whole lot of truth. In today's episode, we're diving into the recent podcast episode by Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, and the media's reaction to it. So buckle up, grab your tea, and let's get started. Meghan recently released a new podcast episode called Confessions of a Female Founder. In this episode, she sat down with the founder of Spanx, Sarah Blakely. They engaged in a candid conversation about the roller coaster journey of entrepreneurship. Meghan, being an entrepreneur herself, shared her insights about the liberating yet lonely aspects of creating and building something from the ground up. She expressed that the path of entrepreneurship can be incredibly freeing. It allows one to take charge, make decisions, and shape the direction of their venture in a way that aligns with their vision. However, Meghan also touched upon the other side of the coin. She acknowledged that this journey can sometimes be incredibly isolating. It's a sentiment that many entrepreneurs, creators, and visionaries can relate to. The process of bringing a dream to life, while rewarding, can also be a solitary endeavor. Meghan's words were not a complaint, but rather an honest reflection of the realities of entrepreneurship. She wasn't talking about her personal life, her marriage, or her family. Her comments were centered on her experiences as a businesswoman, the founder of her own venture. She was shedding light on the trials and triumphs of being a female founder. But as we've seen time and again, the media seems to have a knack for taking Meghan's words out of context. The British tabloids in particular appeared to be ever ready to twist her words into controversial headlines. They took one sentence from Meghan's podcast, devoid of its actual context, and spun it into sensationalist stories about her feeling lonely in Montecito or speculations about her marriage with Prince Harry. But let's set the record straight. Meghan was talking about the entrepreneurial journey, not her personal life. Her words were a commentary on the challenges of building a business, not a cry for help or a sign of trouble in paradise. However, the media seems to have taken Meghan's comments out of context. The British media, particularly tabloids, have given Meghan's comments a different spin. Now, this isn't a new dance routine they're trying out. No, it's the same old tired waltz of misinterpretation and sensationalism. Let's break it down. Meghan, in her latest podcast episode, shared her journey as an entrepreneur, her triumphs and trials, the highs and lows. She spoke about the liberating yet sometimes lonely nature of entrepreneurship. Pretty standard stuff, right? But hold on to your hats because the media circus is in town. Enter the British tabloids. They took these comments, these insights about entrepreneurship, and twisted them into a dramatic narrative. Suddenly, headlines screamed of Meghan's loneliness in Montecito, of a potential rift between her and Harry. It's like they were reading a completely different script. But let's not forget, she was talking about the entrepreneurial journey, not her personal life. She was discussing business, not bemoaning her existence. The media, however, chose to ignore this context. They chose to ignore the fact that she was speaking as a businesswoman, not as a duchess. This misinterpretation by the media is a common occurrence when it comes to Meghan. Her words, her actions, are often taken out of context and twisted into something they're not. It's a narrative that's been spun time and time again, a narrative that feeds into a larger agenda of vilification and sensationalism. But here's the kicker. Meghan isn't playing their game. She's speaking her truth, sharing her experiences and doing so on her own terms. She's not just a duchess, not just a royal. She's a woman, an entrepreneur, a mother. She's a person with thoughts, feelings, and ambitions. And that's what these tabloids can't seem to understand. They're stuck in their outdated narratives, their one-dimensional portrayals. But Meghan and women like her are so much more than that. They're multifaceted, they're complex, they're human. Meghan is speaking out, and we need to listen. Not to the twisted words of the media, but to her actual words, her actual thoughts. Because when we do, we see a woman who is strong, who is determined, who is real. And that's a narrative worth reading. It seems that no matter what Meghan does or says, she's placed in a double bind. This is the reality that Her Royal Highness Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, lives in. Each word she utters, Each move she makes is examined under a microscopic lens and often distorted to fit a narrative that is anything but flattering. Consider the recent media frenzy over her podcast episode. She was discussing the challenges and rewards of entrepreneurship, yet her words were twisted to suggest marital discord and personal loneliness. This is just one example of how Meghan's own voice is frequently drowned out by the noise of misinterpretation and manipulation. The truth is, Meghan lives in a world where her every action is a potential headline. She is constantly faced with a paradoxical demand: to be open yet not too revealing, to be confident yet not too assertive. It's a classic double bind that many women in the public eye face, but with Meghan, it's amplified to an unprecedented level. Let's not forget that Meghan isn't just a duchess. She's a mother, a philanthropist, a businesswoman, a trailblazer. Yet, the media often refuses to see beyond the royal title and the palace drama. They persistently reduce her to a caricature, ignoring the multifaceted woman she truly is. But here's the kicker: Meghan continues to rise above the noise. She continues to speak her truth, create impactful work, and reach new heights. It's this resilience, this refusal to be silenced or shamed, that truly irks her critics. Because when Meghan dares to be herself, unapologetically, authentically, she disrupts the status quo. She challenges the outdated norms and narratives that the media is so keen to uphold. And in doing so, she shines a light on the double bind that she and countless other women face. In the face of all this, Meghan remains undeterred. She continues to build her own path on her own terms. And that, dear listeners, is not just worthy of respect, it's worthy of celebration. Despite all this, Meghan continues to rise, and that's what truly bothers her critics. Because in the end, it's not just about what Meghan says or does, it's about who she is, a woman who refuses to be defined by anyone but herself. Meghan's candidness and intelligence, especially on her own platform, is a threat to the outdated systems the media tries to preserve. Yes, you heard it right. Meghan's unabashed truth-telling, her genuine sharing of experiences, and her insights, especially on her own platform, are shaking the pillars of the traditional media landscape. It's a new dawn, where the subject of the story is no longer a mere pawn in the hands of the media, but a queen on her own chessboard. And Meghan is leading this game-changing revolution. She's not just a former royal, she's a visionary, an entrepreneur, a woman who's building something real. She's not just following the well-trodden path, she's creating her own. She's not waiting for the media to tell her story, she's telling it herself, and that's what scares them. It's a threat to the very foundation of their outdated systems. In this digital age, Meghan understands the power of owning her narrative. She's not playing into the media's game. Instead, she's building her own platform, her own rules. She's no longer the damsel in distress the tabloids want to portray. She's the knight in shining armor, rescuing herself and inspiring millions along the way. Her candidness, her intelligence, her authenticity, they are a threat to the status quo. They are a threat to the traditional media outlets who want to control the narrative, who want to mold the story to fit their agenda. But Meghan is breaking these molds. She's challenging these norms. She's rewriting the rules. And that's what they fear. That's what they can't digest. Because it's not just about Meghan. It's about every woman, every entrepreneur, every visionary who refuses to be silenced, who refuses to be controlled. It's about a new era of storytelling where the subject is also the author. So let's not let their fear, their insecurity, their desperation dim Meghan's light. Let's not let their misinterpretations, their twisted narratives, their false headlines define her. Because Meghan's light continues to shine, no matter how much the media tries to twist her words. So, to all the Sussex supporters, keep streaming, sharing, and amplifying Meghan's voice. Continue to be the beacon of positivity and support that she so rightfully deserves. Remember, each time you tune into Confessions of a Female Founder, each time you share her empowering messages, you're taking a stand against the unfair portrayal of this incredible woman. You're saying yes to authenticity, yes to truth, and a resounding no to the media's relentless misinterpretations. Don't let the twisted narrative sway you. Stand firm in your support, because it matters. It matters to Meghan. It matters to the countless women she inspires, and it matters to the future generations who will look to her as an example of resilience and grace under fire. Before we wrap up, I want to remind you to hit that like button if you enjoyed today's discussion. Share your thoughts in the comments section below. We love hearing from you, your insights, your perspectives. They're what makes this community so vibrant and diverse. And if you haven't already, do subscribe to our channel. This way, you won't miss out on any of our future discussions. We've got a lot more exciting content coming your way, and trust me, you don't want to miss out. Thank you for watching. This is Chloe from Royal Telly signing off. Remember, love and light always wins. Until next time.